Life is full of challenges, distractions, and opinions from others. Every day, people around us expect us to act, think, and react in ways that suit them. They want us to fit their mold, to follow their rules, and to give them control over our lives. But Stoicism teaches us something different. It teaches us how to become so strong, so grounded, and so disciplined that we live life on our own terms. Stop seeking approval from others. This is one of the most powerful lessons you can learn in life. Most people spend their entire lives trying to make others happy. They constantly adjust their behavior, words, and choices just to gain approval from family, friends, colleagues, or society in general. They live in fear of judgment and criticism, and they measure their self-worth by how others perceive them. But this is a trap, because other people's opinions are outside of your control. You cannot dictate what they think, what they feel, or how they respond to you. When you make your happiness dependent on approval, you give away your power. You let others decide your mood, your confidence, and even your direction in life. Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from independence of thought. It comes from valuing your own judgment above the judgments of others. When you stop seeking approval, you free yourself from a cycle of constant validation and rejection. You stop worrying about whether you said the right thing, did the right thing, or fit the mold that others expect. You begin to act according to your principles, your values, and your understanding of what is right. This does not mean you become careless or unkind. It means your actions are guided by wisdom rather than fear of disapproval. You learn to listen to yourself first. You assess situations with clarity. You make decisions that align with your long-term goals instead of short-term praise. People may react with surprise, confusion, or even criticism at first. Some may try to pull you back into the pattern of seeking their approval. They may use guilt, manipulation, or subtle pressure to influence you. But when you are grounded in your own judgment, these attempts lose power. You remain calm, steady, and focused. You understand that the approval you seek externally is fleeting and unreliable, but the approval you cultivate internally is permanent and empowering. This shift also affects your relationships. When you stop seeking approval, your interactions become more honest and authentic. You speak what you truly believe. You act according to your values rather than the expectations of others. You no longer need to perform, pretend, or conform to gain acceptance. This honesty builds respect and trust naturally because people sense authenticity. They see someone who is self-reliant, confident, and consistent. You may even inspire others to stop seeking approval themselves. Over time, you begin to notice changes in your life. You feel lighter, freer, and more in control. Decisions become easier, because you no longer weigh them against the imagined judgments of others. Challenges become less intimidating because you are guided by your inner compass rather than fear of criticism. Your focus shifts from external validation to internal growth. You dedicate your energy to learning, improving, and becoming a better version of yourself. You learn to value your own voice, your own experiences, and your own reasoning. You begin to understand that the only person whose approval truly matters is your own. When you act in alignment with your principles, you carry yourself with a quiet confidence that others notice, whether they acknowledge it or not. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself constantly or seek reassurance. Your self-worth becomes self-contained. You are free to live authentically, to pursue your goals, and to face life with courage. In this freedom, you discover the power of independence and the strength that comes from being guided by your own mind, rather than the opinions of others. Focus only on what you can control. One of the most important lessons of Stoicism is understanding the difference between what is within your power and what is not. Many people waste their energy worrying about things they cannot change. They become frustrated over other people's actions, the opinions of others, the weather, the economy, accidents, illnesses, or events that are simply outside their influence. When you focus on what you cannot control, you feel powerless, anxious, and often angry, because no matter how much effort you put in, the outcome is uncertain. But when you direct your attention to what is within your control, everything changes. What is truly within your control is your thoughts, your choices, your actions, and your responses to events. You can choose how you think about a situation. You can choose whether to act with patience, kindness, courage, or wisdom. You can choose whether to give up or to persevere. By focusing on these things, you reclaim your power. You realize that no matter what happens in the outside world, you always have control over yourself. This understanding brings clarity and peace. When you focus on what you can control, you stop wasting time trying to fix people, force outcomes, or predict the unpredictable. You learn to let go of frustration, resentment, and unnecessary worry. Life becomes simpler because you are no longer entangled in events that are beyond your reach. You become more efficient, more productive, and more effective in everything you do, because you spend your energy only on what can truly make a difference. This also strengthens your mind and character. You develop discipline, patience, and resilience because you are no longer reacting impulsively to circumstances. Instead, you respond thoughtfully, guided by reason rather than emotion. Challenges that once felt overwhelming become opportunities to practice virtue, to test your patience, and to strengthen your self-mastery. You also begin to understand the nature of acceptance. Acceptance does not mean passivity or giving up. It means acknowledging reality as it is, without wasting energy on complaints or resistance to things beyond your power. Acceptance allows you to see situations clearly and make better decisions based on reason rather than fear or anger. It allows you to act where action is possible and to let go where it is not. This mindset creates inner peace. When you focus on what you can control, external events lose their power over you. You remain steady in the face of criticism, setbacks, or unexpected difficulties. You understand that the world may throw challenges your way, but your mind and choices remain yours unshaken. It also improves your relationships. You stop trying to control others or manipulate them to suit your desires. You respect their freedom and focus on managing your own behavior. This leads to more harmonious interactions, because you are guided by reason and virtue, not by frustration or a need to dominate. Over time, this focus transforms your life. Your energy is directed toward growth, learning, and meaningful action. You become a calm, steady presence in a chaotic world. People notice your composure and clarity, and they are drawn to your stability. You learn that life is not about controlling the uncontrollable, but about mastering yourself. Your choices, actions, and mindset are the tools through which you navigate the world, and when you focus on these, you become truly free. Let go of other people's judgments. One of the heaviest burdens a person can carry is the weight of others' opinions. From a young age, we are taught to seek validation and approval. We are encouraged to fit in, to behave in ways that please others, and to measure our worth by how people respond to us. While this may seem natural, it traps us in a cycle of dependency on external approval. Every thought, action, and decision becomes influenced by what others might think. We censor ourselves, hide our true feelings, and make choices that align with expectations rather than with our own values. Stoicism teaches that true freedom comes when you release this burden. Other people's judgments are beyond your control. Their opinions are shaped by their experiences, their fears, their insecurities, and their misunderstandings. They are not reflections of your true character or your value. When you base your self-worth on these judgments, you allow yourself to be moved like a leaf in the wind. You can be praised one moment and criticized the next, but your inner peace depends on neither. Letting go does not mean you become careless or indifferent to others. It means you understand the limits of influence and focus on what matters most: your own character, your intentions, and your actions. You begin to recognize that the only person whose judgment truly matters is yourself. You ask yourself, am I living according to my principles? Am I acting with integrity, honesty, and wisdom? Am I cultivating virtue and self-mastery? These are the questions that guide your choices, not the passing opinions of those around you. This process brings clarity. You no longer second-guess every action or feel anxious about being misunderstood. You act with purpose and confidence, because your validation comes from within. Over time, letting go of others' judgments transforms your relationships as well. When you stop trying to please everyone, your interactions become more authentic. You communicate honestly, set boundaries clearly, and express your true self without fear of rejection. People may initially react with surprise, confusion, or even resistance, but those who respect you will appreciate your authenticity. Others may criticize or judge, but these reactions lose their power over you. You understand that criticism is often a reflection of the other person, not of your value. This mindset also strengthens your resilience. Life is full of obstacles, setbacks, and harsh realities. When you are no longer dependent on others' opinions, you can face challenges with calm and composure. You make decisions rooted in reason rather than fear of judgment. You pursue your goals with dedication, knowing that your worth is not contingent on external recognition. Letting go of judgments allows you to focus on personal growth. You invest energy in improving yourself, learning new skills, and cultivating virtues like patience, courage, and wisdom. You measure progress against your own standards, not someone else's expectations. The mental freedom this brings is immense. anxiety, insecurity, and self-doubt lose their grip when you no longer rely on external validation. You discover a steady, inner strength that cannot be shaken by fleeting opinions. Over time, this practice leads to transformation. You become calm, confident, and grounded. You are able to navigate life with clarity, responding thoughtfully rather than reacting emotionally. You realize that other people's judgments are nothing more than passing thoughts, and by releasing their hold, you reclaim your life and your peace. Practice self-discipline every day. Self-discipline is one of the most powerful tools for transforming your life. It is the ability to control your impulses, manage your desires, and make choices that align with your values and long-term goals, even when it feels difficult. Most people act according to their immediate feelings, cravings, or moods. They indulge in comfort, procrastinate, or give in to distractions, believing that happiness comes from satisfying every desire. But this approach often leads to chaos, frustration, and a life dictated by circumstance rather than purpose. Self-discipline teaches you to take control of your mind and actions. It allows you to act intentionally, rather than react impulsively. Each day presents opportunities to practice self-discipline. Waking up early instead of sleeping in, focusing on important tasks instead of scrolling aimlessly on your phone, choosing healthy food over unhealthy cravings, controlling anger in difficult situations, and managing time effectively are all exercises in discipline. Each small choice builds your inner strength, and over time, these small acts accumulate into significant personal transformation. Self-discipline also strengthens your ability to face challenges calmly. Life is unpredictable, and difficulties are inevitable. Without discipline, it is easy to become overwhelmed by obstacles, giving in to fear, frustration, or despair. With discipline, you train yourself to stay steady, to endure discomfort, and to act rationally in the face of adversity. It develops resilience, allowing you to continue moving forward, even when situations are tough or uncomfortable. Another important aspect of self-discipline is controlling your emotions. Many people allow anger, jealousy, or fear to guide their actions, often leading to regret or conflict. Discipline teaches you to pause, observe your emotions, and choose your response wisely. You learn that you are not your impulses, and that you have the power to respond with reason, patience, and wisdom. Practicing self-discipline also improves focus. When you are disciplined, you prioritize what truly matters and avoid wasting energy on trivial matters. You concentrate on goals that lead to meaningful growth, whether in your career, personal development, or relationships. This focus helps you achieve results that others might find difficult or impossible, simply because you have learned to master your mind and actions. Over time, self-discipline becomes a habit, a natural part of your character. It does not feel like a struggle every moment, rather, it becomes your default way of acting. Your mind is sharper, your choices are clearer, and your actions are more effective. People begin to notice your consistency, reliability, and strength, even if they do not understand the effort behind it. Self-discipline is also closely tied to freedom. Many people mistakenly believe that discipline is restrictive, that it limits enjoyment. In reality, discipline creates freedom. By controlling impulses and focusing on what truly matters, you free yourself from being enslaved by momentary desires, distractions, or external pressures. You gain the power to live life on your own terms, guided by purpose rather than by fleeting whims. Finally, self-discipline nurtures self-respect. Each time you choose what is right over what is easy, you reinforce your integrity and character. You begin to trust yourself, knowing that you can rely on your own judgment and strength. This trust builds confidence and inner peace, allowing you to face the world with composure and courage. Daily practice of self-discipline is not always easy, but it is the foundation of personal mastery, resilience, and true freedom. It is through disciplined action that you transform ordinary choices into extraordinary results and slowly become the person you were meant to be. Conserve energy for growth, not fear or anger. Life constantly tests our patience and focus. Every day, situations arise that can drain our energy if we allow them to. Arguments, conflicts, criticism, disappointment, and fear all have a way of stealing our attention and strength. Many people unknowingly spend most of their mental and emotional energy reacting to negative events instead of directing it toward growth and progress. Stoicism teaches that our energy is a precious resource, and how we use it determines the quality of our life. Wasting energy on fear, anger, resentment, or jealousy weakens the mind and leaves us vulnerable to stress, distraction, and poor decisions. These emotions may feel powerful in the moment, but they do not solve problems. They only magnify suffering and keep us trapped in cycles of negativity. Instead, Stoicism encourages us to redirect our energy toward actions that truly matter, learning, self-improvement, patience, and building strength of character. When you focus your energy on growth, every challenge becomes an opportunity rather than a burden. Mistakes are no longer failures to be feared, but lessons to be understood. Setbacks are no longer sources of anger or frustration, but moments to cultivate resilience. By consciously choosing where to spend your mental and emotional energy, you gain control over your life. You begin to notice that small, unnecessary worries no longer dominate your thoughts. You stop reacting impulsively to criticism, gossip, or the opinions of others. Instead, you respond with calm clarity and purpose. This approach also improves your relationships. People who waste energy on resentment, jealousy, or anger often create tension and conflict in their interactions. By conserving energy for growth, you remain composed and understanding even when others act negatively. You respond with reason rather than emotion, and you focus on actions that improve your life and the lives of those around you. Your energy becomes a tool for progress rather than a weapon of reaction. Another key aspect of conserving energy is self-awareness. You begin to notice what triggers emotional responses and distractions. Once you identify these triggers, you can choose how to react. You do not have to engage with every insult, every criticism, or every situation that tries to provoke anger or fear. You can remain centered, deciding what deserves your attention and what does not. Over time, this practice creates mental clarity. You feel lighter, calmer, and more capable. You spend less time worrying about things beyond your control and more time focusing on actions that lead to meaningful improvement. Your goals, values, and priorities guide your energy, rather than random events or other people's behavior. Growth becomes a natural outcome of focused effort. Conserving energy also strengthens your resilience in the face of challenges. Life will always present difficulties, but when your energy is protected, you are able to respond effectively instead of reacting destructively. You have the strength to endure hardships with patience and to take thoughtful action toward solutions. You realize that fear, anger, and resentment are distractions that weaken your mind and body, while calm, intentional effort strengthens them. Eventually, this approach becomes a habit. You naturally spend more energy on personal development, learning, and meaningful work, and less on negativity and pointless reactions. You find yourself achieving goals, improving your character, and cultivating inner peace. Your life becomes more intentional, more productive, and more satisfying, because your energy is directed toward things that matter rather than things that drain you. Face challenges with patience and calm. Life is full of difficulties, obstacles, and unexpected events that test our strength and character. Many people react to challenges with frustration, anger, or panic. They feel overwhelmed, anxious, or defeated when things do not go as planned. Stoicism teaches that the way to navigate life successfully is to face every challenge with patience and calm. Patience is the ability to endure discomfort, delays, or setbacks without losing control of your mind or emotions. It is not about passivity or giving up. It is about maintaining composure and reason while acting effectively within the situation. Calmness is the companion of patience. A calm mind observes situations clearly, without being clouded by fear, anger, or impulsive reactions. When you face life's challenges with calmness, you can think more clearly, make better decisions, and act with wisdom rather than reacting out of emotion. Challenges are inevitable. No one can escape problems, losses, or unexpected difficulties. Instead of resisting these experiences, Stoicism teaches that you should accept them as part of life and approach them with a steady mind. By doing so, you reduce unnecessary suffering caused by frustration or panic. Facing challenges patiently also strengthens your character. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to practice virtue, discipline, and resilience. The more you endure without losing your composure, the more confidence you build in your own ability to handle life. You begin to trust yourself and your judgment, knowing that you can withstand difficulties and make thoughtful decisions under pressure. Calmness allows you to respond rather than react. When an unexpected situation arises, you have the mental clarity to analyze it, consider your options, and choose the most effective course of action. Without calm, emotions can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive or regrettable decisions. Patience and calm also influence your interactions with others. When difficulties involve other people, whether in conflicts, disagreements, or misunderstandings, remaining patient and composed allows you to communicate effectively. You listen more carefully, speak thoughtfully, and act in a way that promotes understanding rather than escalating tension. Over time, patience and calm become habits that define your approach to life. You develop the ability to handle stress, setbacks, and criticism without losing your balance. You are no longer easily shaken by external events, and you can maintain a sense of inner peace even in challenging circumstances. This mindset also allows for greater perspective. You begin to see challenges as temporary and often as opportunities for growth. You understand that adversity is part of the human experience, and that enduring it with patience and calm strengthens your resilience, wisdom, and character. Facing challenges in this way reduces unnecessary suffering caused by negative emotions. Fear, anger, and frustration diminish because you recognize that your response, not the event itself, determines your experience. Patience and calmness give you control over your inner state. You are able to act effectively in the present moment, rather than being consumed by worry about the past or anxiety about the future. As you practice these qualities consistently, life becomes less chaotic and more manageable. Challenges no longer feel insurmountable, because you have the mental tools to face them steadily. You approach each difficulty with a sense of purpose, clarity, and self-mastery, gradually building resilience, wisdom, and inner strength that will guide you through every situation you encounter. Live intentionally with purpose. Many people drift through life without direction, following routines, habits, or the expectations of others without truly asking themselves why. They allow their days to be consumed by distractions, trivial concerns, or the demands of other people, and they rarely pause to consider what truly matters to them. Stoicism teaches that a meaningful life comes from living intentionally, making conscious choices, and acting according to your values and principles. To live intentionally means to understand your goals, your priorities, and your reasons for every action. It means being fully present in each moment and making decisions that align with your long-term vision, rather than reacting automatically to circumstances or impulses. Purpose gives life clarity. When you know what you want to achieve and why, your energy and attention are focused. You spend time on what matters, rather than being scattered by distractions or the opinions of others. Each day becomes an opportunity to move closer to your goals, to grow, and to improve yourself. Living with purpose also provides motivation and resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and frustrations. Without a clear purpose, it is easy to feel lost, discouraged, or overwhelmed when difficulties arise. When you act intentionally, however, you have a reason to endure discomfort and persevere. Your purpose becomes a guide, giving direction and meaning to your actions even in difficult times. Intentional living is also about alignment with your values. Every choice, word, and action should reflect who you truly are, not who others expect you to be. This requires self-awareness and honesty. You must examine your beliefs, principles, and priorities, and then make decisions that honor them. Acting against your values may bring temporary satisfaction or approval from others, but it erodes your integrity and inner peace. Purposeful living improves decision-making. When faced with choices, large or small, you ask yourself, does this action support my values and long-term goals? Will it contribute to growth, virtue, or meaningful outcomes? This mindset reduces impulsive or wasteful behavior and keeps your attention on what truly matters. It also enhances your relationships. When you live intentionally, you communicate clearly and act consistently. People sense your focus and integrity, which fosters respect and trust. You are able to set boundaries and prioritize your commitments without guilt or confusion, because your actions are guided by purpose rather than by pressure or obligation. Living with purpose strengthens your character. You become disciplined, mindful, and resilient. You learn to delay gratification, overcome distractions, and act thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Over time, this creates confidence and self-respect, because you know that your life is guided by conscious choice rather than randomness or external influence. Purposeful living also brings fulfillment and satisfaction. When you focus on meaningful goals, personal growth, and virtuous action, each day feels significant. You experience progress, accomplishment, and a sense of contribution. Even setbacks and challenges are seen as opportunities to learn and grow rather than meaningless obstacles. Ultimately, living intentionally with purpose is about being fully engaged in your own life. It is about taking responsibility for your choices, focusing on what truly matters, and acting in harmony with your values. By doing so, you cultivate clarity, strength, and inner peace, and you build a life that is meaningful, resilient, and aligned with who you truly are. Build inner freedom through your choices. True freedom is not the ability to control everything around you, but the ability to control yourself, your thoughts, and your actions. Many people confuse freedom with external circumstances, believing that if they had more money, status, or power, they would be free. However, without self-control and clarity of mind, external advantages offer little real freedom. Stoicism teaches that genuine freedom comes from mastering your choices and responses. Every day, life presents countless decisions, both big and small. How you respond to challenges, setbacks, criticism, or temptation shapes your inner world. When you make choices guided by reason, virtue, and self-awareness, you are exercising true freedom. You are no longer a prisoner of impulse, fear, or the expectations of others. Inner freedom begins with awareness. You must recognize when your mind is being pulled by emotions, desires, or external pressures. Many people are unaware of how much their happiness and decisions are dictated by events outside their control. By observing your thoughts and feelings, you gain the ability to pause before reacting. This pause creates space for deliberate action rather than impulsive reaction. Discipline is the foundation of inner freedom. By practicing self-control and making conscious decisions consistently, you train your mind to act in alignment with your values and goals. You learn to delay gratification, resist unhealthy habits, and remain calm in the face of provocation. Each disciplined choice strengthens your autonomy and reduces dependence on external factors for happiness or satisfaction. Making choices consciously also involves prioritization. Life is full of distractions, unnecessary worries, and demands from others. Without intentionality, your energy and focus are scattered, leaving you feeling trapped or overwhelmed. By focusing on what truly matters and letting go of what does not, you protect your time, attention, and energy. You make decisions that serve your growth, well-being, and purpose, rather than reacting to every impulse or external expectation. Inner freedom also comes from detachment from outcomes. Many people feel controlled by results, fearing failure or desiring praise. Stoicism teaches that while you can act with effort and intention, the results are not fully within your control. By focusing on the quality of your actions rather than being attached to the outcome, you liberate yourself from anxiety, disappointment, and frustration. This allows you to act boldly, take responsibility, and grow without being burdened by circumstances beyond your control. Another aspect of inner freedom is emotional mastery. Emotions like anger, fear, and resentment can dominate the mind if left unchecked. By observing your emotions and choosing how to respond, you prevent them from dictating your actions. You learn to maintain composure, respond wisely, and preserve your energy for meaningful pursuits. Relationships are also transformed by inner freedom. When you are guided by your own choices rather than reacting to the behavior or opinions of others, interactions become authentic and respectful. You are able to communicate honestly, set boundaries, and act with integrity, fostering trust and mutual understanding. Building inner freedom is a gradual process. It requires consistent effort, self-reflection, and the courage to act independently of external pressures. Over time, this freedom becomes a natural part of your character. You face life with confidence, resilience, and peace, knowing that your mind and choices are your own, regardless of external circumstances. By cultivating inner freedom through your choices, you become the master of your own life, empowered to act with clarity, virtue, and purpose in every situation. Transform quietly, steadily, day by day. Change rarely happens all at once. Most people expect transformation to be sudden, dramatic, or visible to everyone, but true growth is a slow and consistent process. Stoicism teaches that personal development is built on small, deliberate actions repeated over time. Every day presents countless opportunities to improve your mind, character, and habits. Each choice you make, no matter how small, contributes to your overall transformation. When you commit to steady growth, you begin to notice changes not through sudden leaps, but through gradual shifts in behavior, perspective, and resilience. Patience is essential in this process. You will encounter setbacks, distractions, and challenges that may tempt you to abandon your efforts. Some days, progress feels invisible, and you may wonder if your actions have any impact at all. The key is consistency. By showing up for yourself every day, practicing self-discipline, and making conscious choices, you lay the foundation for long-term transformation. Quiet transformation often goes unnoticed by others at first. People may continue to see you as the person you once were, unaware of the inner work you are doing. This is part of the process. Growth is personal, and its value is measured by the strength, clarity, and resilience you develop, not by external recognition. Day-by-day transformation strengthens your character. Each time you practice patience, self-control, or thoughtful action, you build mental and emotional resilience. You learn to endure discomfort without being overwhelmed, and to face challenges with composure. Over time, these small acts accumulate into profound changes in the way you think, act, and respond to life. Transformation also involves letting go of what no longer serves you. Old habits, fears, doubts, and unnecessary attachments can weigh you down and prevent growth. By gradually releasing them, you create space for new perspectives, behaviors, and opportunities. This process is not instant, but with steady effort, you begin to notice increased clarity, focus, and freedom in your life. Each day, you practice virtues like honesty, integrity, patience, and courage. These virtues shape your actions and decisions, gradually molding your character. You become someone who responds thoughtfully rather than impulsively, who acts according to values rather than fleeting emotions, and who faces difficulties with strength and calm. Quiet, steady transformation is also about internal validation. You do not seek immediate praise or recognition for your progress. Instead, you measure growth by your own standards, the improvements you see in your behavior, mindset, and resilience. This internal focus ensures that your development is authentic and lasting, rather than dependent on external approval. Over time, the cumulative effect of daily effort becomes powerful. Small, consistent actions build momentum, creating habits and mental patterns that support continued growth. You begin to notice subtle but meaningful changes in your responses, your decisions, and your approach to life. Transformation also teaches humility. You learn that meaningful change is rarely flashy or sudden, and that patience, persistence, and steady effort are more valuable than immediate results. You become comfortable with progress that is invisible to others, trusting that the work you do daily will bear fruit in time. By committing to quiet, steady transformation day by day, you develop a life of purpose, strength, and resilience, gradually becoming the person you aspire to be through consistent effort. Self-discipline and mindful choices become unrecognizable by living true to yourself. One of the most profound transformations a person can experience is the shift from living for others to living authentically. Many people spend their lives trying to meet the expectations of society, family, friends, or colleagues. They mold themselves to fit in, to be accepted, or to avoid criticism. They hide their true thoughts, suppress their emotions, and compromise their values to gain approval. This way of living creates a version of yourself that is a reflection of others' desires rather than your own reality. Stoicism teaches that true strength and freedom come when you stop living for the approval of others and instead act in alignment with your principles and values. When you start living true to yourself, you make decisions based on what you believe is right, not on what others think. You prioritize integrity, honesty, and virtue over temporary approval or praise. This shift does not happen overnight. It is a gradual process that requires self-awareness, courage, and persistence. As you consistently act according to your values, your behavior begins to change. You respond to challenges thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. You set boundaries clearly and assertively, protecting your time, energy, and peace of mind. You stop seeking validation and instead cultivate internal confidence, understanding that your worth is not determined by others' opinions. This transformation affects the way people perceive you. Those who knew you before may be surprised by the calm confidence, clarity, and strength you now exhibit. They may try to influence you or pull you back into old patterns, but you remain steadfast, guided by your inner principles rather than external pressures. Being true to yourself also strengthens resilience. Life will inevitably present obstacles, criticism, and setbacks. When your actions are grounded in authenticity, you are less affected by external challenges. You maintain composure, make reasoned decisions, and continue moving forward without being shaken by negativity. This steady approach builds inner peace and stability, allowing you to handle life's difficulties with grace and courage. Living authentically also deepens self-respect. Each time you act in alignment with your values, you reinforce your sense of integrity and self-trust. You learn that the only approval you need is your own, and this self-reliance frees you from the constant need to please others. Over time, your transformation becomes visible in subtle but powerful ways. Your habits, choices, and reactions reflect a person who is disciplined, wise, and grounded. You no longer react impulsively or emotionally to minor irritations or provocations. You act with intention, focus, and clarity, and this presence naturally draws respect from others. Becoming unrecognizable is not about changing to impress people or hiding who you are. It is about shedding the layers of external influence, fear, and conformity that have previously dictated your actions. It is about revealing the person you were meant to be, the version of yourself that acts with purpose, integrity, and inner strength. This transformation is liberating because it allows you to live without fear of judgment, criticism, or rejection. You are free to pursue your goals, uphold your values, and face life's challenges on your terms. By consistently living true to yourself, you gradually become someone who cannot be controlled, manipulated, or shaken by others' opinions. Your life becomes a reflection of your principles, your growth, and your inner strength, making you unrecognizable to those who only knew the old version of yourself.